hello, my name is Jessie and welcome back to another What I Eat in a Week. Today is week 3 recap for our pantry challenge. And if you're new here, we're doing a pantry challenge for 60 days when we would try to use up as much food in our freezer, fridge, and pantry as possible. And this is the recap of our week 3 of what we ate. Are you ready? Let's go! Alright. So today is day 15 and believe it or not, we're 2 weeks in January and it's still raining since day 1. We just needed to do something to lift up our spirit, and we have a date night at home with steak and wine. For the ingredients, we had some garlic in the fridge, some rosemary from our garden, and 2 pieces of these beautiful ribeyes in our freezer, and some steak seasoning. This is how I put this beautiful dinner together in 15 minutes. First, I season the steaks both sides. While the steak is marinating, I'm infusing some garlic and rosemary oil. Put the steaks in, sear both sides, and put it in the oven for 10 minutes at 410 degrees. We paste it with butter and the garlic oil, and we plate it. That beautiful dinner was only 15 minutes, and while we wait for the steak to cook in the oven for 10 minutes, Calvin was opening the wine for it to decant. We had a really nice dinner, just to enjoy each other's company without having to drive in the rain. And it was just perfect. For day 16, I need to use up the cabbage that we have in the fridge, and I made some cabbage and beef stir fry for lunch. So for the ingredients for this dish, it's very simple. I chop up a whole head of the cabbage that we have in the fridge, some red pepper and green pepper for colors, and a portion of our flat meats in the freezer. To put this dish together is very easy. We just have to have everything ready because everything happens very quickly. First, I slice some garlic, slice the meat thinly, marinate the beef with some garlic oil, salt, pepper, and some cornstarch. Mix it together, and in a wok, I put about 2 tablespoons of avocado oil. Spread out the beef for it to touch as much surface as possible. And then more oil, and then add in the garlic to stir it. Once it's about 80% done, take it out, and then we add in the vegetables, cabbage, peppers, and we stir it for a little bit and add about half a cup of chicken broth so it would steam a bit. Once it's about 80% done, I add the beef right back in, mix it all together one more time, and then lunch is ready. That lunch was so flavorful and light, yet it kept us full for the whole day because of all the vegetables that we put in there. And it came together in no time. And what really helped all these meals to be so quick when I prep it is because when I brought it home from the grocery store, I portioned them out in the freezer so that whenever I need to cook, I just put one portion and it's pretty much ready for me to cook. And it's such a time saver, guys. Day 17, today I wanted to have some noodles because we had steak and we had cabbage and beef. So I just wanted to have some carbs, so to speak. So I decided to make Japche, which is a Korean stir-fry noodle, for dinner, and it was so good. For this dish, I used 2 bundles of these sweet yam noodles I have in the pantry, 1 small onion sliced. I shredded some carrot, some bell peppers, and we had a little bit of the cabbage left from yesterday, so I shredded them up as well. 4 eggs and about half a pound of pork belly. Just like any stir fry, it comes together very quickly, so we have to prep the ingredients first. I soaked the noodle in hot water and shredded the cabbage, thinly sliced the pork belly, beaten the 4 eggs together, and then we fry the eggs. Once the eggs are done frying, I just put it on a cutting board and cut strips out of it. Then I marinate the noodle with some of our Japanese barbecue sauce. In the same pan that we used for the egg, I put in the pork belly, stir fry it until it's almost cooked. I added the cabbage in and then the carrots, a little bit more oil, and then we put the bell pepper in it. Mix the noodles in with everything, add in the eggs, and just mix them all together one more time. To finish the dish, I drizzle a little bit of sesame oil and some sesame seed. I was craving for some noodles and that dish hit the spot. I know we're missing spinach and other stuff for the traditional japche, but during this pantry challenge, I'm trying to use up what we have and being creative and try to put a dish together. And that's the whole point of this pantry challenge. Day 18, today is midweek already. And remember last week I say that I have to use the flours in the pantry for at least one dish during the week. And today was the day. I decided to make a bread. And because the bread takes up pretty much my whole time for cooking dinner, we will be enjoying this bread with one of the soup that I have ready in the freezer. I am not a good baker, to say the least, but I try. So for this, I am making an easy no-meat bread, and you just really need all-purpose flours, yeast, sugar, salt, and water. And I actually had to start this process the night before so the bread had time to rest in the fridge. So let's go over what I did. The night before is when we started this by adding 350 grams of all-purpose flours, 2 teaspoons of yeast, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of sugar, and then we just mix it together. And then we create a little well in the middle and add in 270 milliliters of water. And we mix it all together one more time. And we just cover it at room temperature for 30 minutes until it doubles in size. We deflate the dough and reshape it and put it back into the bowl and into the fridge until the next day. And this is the next day, and I take the dough out for it to rest at room temperature, deflate it and reshape it one more time. And I bake this bread in a Dutch oven at 450 degrees, 30 minutes covered, and for the last 15 minutes I uncovered the pot. And that was it. Look how beautiful the bread is, guys. And there was no kneading whatsoever. And like I say, because the bread takes up most of the time, I took out one of the roasted butternut soup that I have in the freezer, heat it up, add some bacon, some pumpkin seed, sour cream, and it was so good with the bread, fresh bread and soup. Oh, yummy. So for this day, I decided to have some chicken, and I have this 1 can of beans sitting in my pantry. I need to use it up. So guess what I'm making? Tuscan chicken and white beans. And I feel like everyone would have some chicken in the freezer and a can of beans in the pantry. So I decided to make this recipe a full-length video, and I will be linking it below for you guys. It's very good, quick, and you can meal prep out of it too. So check it out, guys. Day 20 of this pantry challenge was actually also Lunar New Year, and every Lunar New Year we always have this traditional dish. It's called Tuscan, and it's a caramelized braised pork belly with eggs, and this is my version of doing it. For the ingredients for this dish, we had minced garlic, minced onion, about a pound of pork belly cubed up, half a cup of chicken broth, and 6 eggs. And this is my version of making this dish. I start by boiling the eggs for 6 minutes. We're gonna marinate the pork belly with garlic, onion, fish sauce, soy sauce, dark soy sauce, sugar, red pepper flakes, black peppers, chicken broth. Mix it all together and let it marinate for 20 minutes. While the pork is marinating, we take out the eggs into a nice bath. Add all the mixture of the marinated pork into a saucepan. Bring it to a boil. Lower the heat, cover it up, and braise it for 20 minutes. While the pork is being marinated, I'm peeling the eggs and get it ready. After braise for 20 minutes, we add in the eggs, mix it together for about 5 minutes. Now that the rice is ready, let's put it together and celebrate New Year. That was one humble dish to celebrate the New Year, but it just brings back so much memories of the childhood that we had growing up. Every Lunar New Year, my parents always make that dish and we gather together to have a family dinner. And that's really what the New Year is about, being with family. And Happy New Year, guys! Last day of week 3 already. I feel like this week flew by so fast. And I guess because of all the celebration going on around us, we're still in the mood for some more Asian food. And no better way to clean out the fridge of those little leftovers than having a hot pot night. For the ingredients, we had some flat meats that I thinly sliced, defrosted some shrimp, and we had some fish balls and meatballs in the freezer, and half a head of Napa cabbage. To put the hot pot together was very easy. We just prep the ingredients and cook it on the table. So first, I sliced up half the head of the cabbage and then some of the green onions from the garden. Thinly sliced the flat meat that we have in the freezer. Defrosted some shrimp, fish ball, and meatballs. Just put everything together, and I used some of the homemade milk and bone broth diluted with water, 1-to-1 ratio. Add in a fourth of a cup of the soy sauce soup seasoning, and we just put everything on the table and enjoy it together. My favorite part of dinner is not so much about the food, but about the company and the time that we have together. And having the hot pot to end the week was the perfect idea, because even though it's not just the two of us, but we sit down, gather together, eat, and cook our own food, and just talk about our days. And for me, that is dinner. And just like that, week 3 is gone. Wow. And looking back, I enjoy making every single dish for this week. I feel like it was so creative of me to come up with all these dishes day after day, just using what we have in the fridge and the pantry. Oh man, and that bread making really inspired me to bake even more. So I feel like week 4 gonna be even better now that I'm like so excited and like ready to take on the challenge even more. So come back next week for another recap, and remember to check out the recipe for our Tuscan chicken in the description below, okay? And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe and like our channel. See you guys next time. Bye bye!